starting right now on ABC's This Week. Firing Back.
Is Donald Sterling a racist?
The mystery woman behind that NBA race scandal breaking her silence. Will Donald Sterling be forced to sell? NBA Hall of Famer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar joins us live. Smoking gun? The White House releases a secret Benghazi email. Republicans call it proof of a cover-up. Then, Al Franken in his first Sunday interview. And we're behind the scenes at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
The House Republicans actually give John Boehner a harder time than they give me, which means orange really is the new black.
From ABC News, This Week with George Stephanopoulos begins now.
Good morning, everyone. It is a happy one in Los Angeles, where after a week of chaos and controversy, the Clippers came from behind late last night to beat the Golden State Warriors, keep their playoff hopes alive. Big question now, who will run the team? Will Donald Sterling be forced to sell? We're learning this morning that the NBA is poised to name a new Clippers CEO, and ABC's Ryan Smith is tracking it all from L.A. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, George. Clippers fans out here in force last night to celebrate their team's big win to move to the next round of the NBA playoffs. And while the team's fortunes are on the rise, the fate of their team's owner still hangs in the balance.
After a week of scandal, a moment of celebration for Clippers Nation. But now, V. Stiviano, the woman at the center of the controversy surrounding the Clippers owner, Donald Sterling, is speaking out in an exclusive interview with ABC's Barbara Walters.
Is Donald Sterling a racist?
No, I don't believe it in my heart.
Will he apologize?
Only God knows.
Sterling had been silent since he was banned from the NBA for life this week over his racist remarks caught on tape by Stiviano. But he broke his silence Friday, telling Du Jour magazine, quote, "I wish I had just paid her off." While Sterling's offensive remarks may now cost him his team, his history of alleged racial discrimination has been thrust into the spotlight. Sterling was sued in 2006 by the Justice Department for discrimination against minorities in his rental properties, settling for a record $2.7 million in 2009. Darrell Williams is a former tenant who sued Sterling for forcing him out of his apartment.
Basically, you would be tricked into being evicted, and they all happen to be people of color.
But while Sterling's remarks have sparked outrage, recent surveys show that discriminatory views are still widespread. Some 28% of white Americans say it's okay to discriminate when selling a home, while 40% say whites are more hardworking than blacks. And some see hypocrisy in the backlash over Sterling's comments now.
His reprehensible comments documented in court about housing discrimination caused zero outrage. But let the man get caught in a private conversation. Now we want to get outraged and run him out of basketball. It's a joke.
On Thursday, an advisory committee of NBA owners met to agree on the process for removing Sterling from ownership, and they agreed to move forward as, quote, expeditiously as possible. They'll convene again this week to try to move that process forward. George?
Okay, Ryan, thanks. With that, let's bring in one of the greatest NBA players ever, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Thank you for coming in this morning. I was struck by this essay you wrote in Time magazine, scathing essay, Welcome to the Finger-Wagging Olympics. And one of the things that you said bothers you most is how everyone acted as if this was a huge surprise.
Yeah, and it certainly should not have been a surprise to anybody that was paying any attention to Mr. Sterling over any period of time.
You worked with him back in 2000. You coached the Clippers for a bit.
Yes.
And what did you see then? Did you see a racist?
No, I didn't see a racist then. Mr. Sterling, for the most part, was gracious. He invited me to his daughter's wedding. You know, I didn't feel that there was any racial animus in the man. But when I saw what was just portrayed there, you know, how he discriminated against blacks and other minorities, it started to bother me.
And what do you think the league can do now? We saw Adam Silver come out. You supported his ban, his lifetime ban. But you know Sterling a little bit. It sure appears that he's likely to fight this.
Yeah, that if past performance is any indication, he's going to fight it and do take whatever legal recourses he has to avoid the sanctions.
And do you think the league can force him out?
I think they have the legal leverage to do that. Have to see. You don't know for sure, but the way things are going now, I think that they have a very good chance of keeping him away from the game.
What about the underlying issues that Ryan brought up in his piece that you bring up in your piece? The kind of idea that the league for a long time turned a blind eye to his actions, and that the country is still struggling with lingering racism.
Well, this is a problem. I did a little bit of research. More whites believe in ghosts than believe in racism. That's why we don't have. That's why we have shows like Ghostbusters and don't have shows like Racist Busters. You know, it's something that's still part of our culture, and people hold on to some of these ideas and practices just out of habit and saying that, well, that's the way it always was. But things have to change.
I was struck by a piece in the New York Times by Tim Egan, who called sports the most progressive force in America, and says that if you want to find racial progress in America, look to the games we play. Sports has been in the vanguard, certainly in the past, of promoting racial reconciliation.
Yes.
What more can the NBA do right now?
I think all the NBA has to do now is just keep the issue in people's minds when it's appropriate. It's not something you can constantly be harping on. But when it's appropriate and they see people doing things that don't line up with how we're supposed to be feeling about things, then people have to speak up. It's got to keep it's like watching the temperature. You know, if somebody gets a temperature, something might be wrong. You got to deal with it quickly.
And you spoke up this week. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, thanks very much.
Pleasure talking to you.